Now, listen, we spoke earlier to Godfrey Bloom, former UKIP MEP, of course, and we lost the line, unfortunately. Don't worry, he hasn't been censored or cancelled. I believe that Godfrey joins us now. We've put a pound in the meter. Sorry we lost you earlier, Godfrey. Can we move the conversation on to the politically homeless? Because you've been equally excoriating about the Conservative and the Labour Party, and you're even pretty sniffy about Reform UK. Will there ever be a home for the politically homeless?
It doesn't seem in the immediate future that that's going to be the case. And of course, the original question was, does the civil service have a left-wing bias? And I would argue that politicians right across the board have a left-wing bias. We now have a relatively neo-socialist government, which isn't conservative at all, and the opposition is pure socialist. So it's a bit like curry. You can have a prawn curry or a lamb curry, but it's still curry. And people want egg and chips, and that's the long and short of it, I'm afraid. No, I don't think we're ever going to go back to a parliament who actually reflects the will of ordinary people. And that's really been shown by Brexit. We voted massively for Brexit, and we haven't got it, have we? We haven't got it. And it seems to be that things now are passing by Parliament. The World Health Organization now is going to make our decisions in the future for our health treatments. The IMF, the WEF, all these people. Parliament really doesn't have much to do with the way we're governed anymore, does it?
It would seem not. Do you think the problem is our electoral system? Is it first past the post? Would PR help? Proportional representation? Could that allow a smaller party to rise up the ranks and ultimately prevail?
Well, it certainly worked for UKIP. And the word I got on the street when we were having a referendum for UKIP, and UKIP was doing it under proportional representation, was so many people said to me that they haven't voted for years because it was a waste of time. Voting red or voting blue is really a waste of time. And then they said, I'm going to vote on this because my vote will actually count. They're going to count it. And they did count it. And of course, Brexit was voted through. But the House of Lords, the House of Commons and the civil service have stalled it, didn't want it. And it was negotiated by Theresa May and the civil service, who did their best to sabotage it. And it's still sabotaged. Yes, proportional representation, but I would go further than that, Mark. I wouldn't allow any political parties at all. As I said on your programme before, I believe you should stand at the hustings on an election and say, my name is Fred Bloggs and I believe in this. No rosettes, no reds, no blues, no greens. This is me, this is what I stand for, and people in your constituency for vote. I would get elected to Parliament probably on that basis, and so would many others who stand up for the ordinary working man.
Well, I think that's an interesting point. I've always thought party membership is a bad idea. Party membership is a strange idea because I would never want to be allied to one political grouping because my opinion changes, you know, intermittently, and it's organic, and you learn about life and your views change. Can I ask you about UKIP? Do you think they are still a force in politics?
No, I don't think so, because, you know, they had their chance, basically, and they blew it. They did a wonderful job in getting the referendum and helping to win the referendum. All that was marvellous and some wonderful patriotic people. But what we need now is to step into a new dimension. We don't want a one-trick pony. We could have, what we really want is an old-fashioned Conservative Party, as the Lord Salisbury saw it, the most successful Conservative administration ever, and that is very low regulation, very low taxation, and let's get rid of the 6 million civil servants, whether they're left-wing or not. 6 million. Let's have a good look at the 6 million people who seem to be on the dole when people are crying out for workers. Let's have a look at that and get back to the sort of country that we should have, which is low regulation. And that is the way forward for any economy, not just Britain, any economy. Low tax and low regulation, so we can expand the economy.
Godfrey, I'm glad we caught up in the end. Worth the wait. Godfrey Bloom, former UKIP MEP, political commentator and dropper of truth bombs.
As most of you know, my work is very heavily independently research-based. and I get my information from all over the world. It would help if you press the subscribe button and the little bell next to it, because the more subscribers I have, the more likely it is that international independent research institutes will share their material with me. It's most helpful, and then of course I automatically share it with you. So surprise, won't cost you anything. Thank you very much.